Why are you gay?
Space.
Slapper the face. Insert the goose. Slapper the face. Insert the goose.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the U.S.S. Adequate. Our ongoing mission until we are replaced by something far more superior. Turn the volume down. To review every Star Trek episode and movie in existence. To seek out new guests and make them very uncomfortable. To boldly go where very many other Star Trek YouTube shows have gone before. It is Friday night. You are on the Starship Adequate. I am your host, Captain Goodwill. Welcome to Trekking Up North. I am joined, as ever, by the very ravishing Geesian from the planet Honk!
Honk.
Science Officer Synoiz. Good evening, Science Officer Synoiz. How are thee this fair Friday?
Slapper the face. Insert the goose. As I've often been wont to say, I'm doing fantastically, Mr. Goodwill. I've read a book this week, so I feel much more intelligent, and I've been doing my hallway, and so I'm incredibly masculine. So yes, lovely to see you.
Are
Yes.
you having a glass of Chateau Picard?
No, it
Having
doesn't
something
taste like
decent.
this. It's just actually. It's anyway. Am I allowed to advertise this on the streamer? I'm having jammy red woo. Oh, look at it. Oh.
Ooh.
That's I literally love that I've been given loads of I'm one of those people where I've been given loads of like fancy bottles of wine by promoters and stuff, and I'm just like, never opening that because that looks expensive, and then just go out and buy like an £8 bottle of piss, and I'm just like, let's just drink this then.
Wait until we arrive back from Vegas with a few bottles of Damar's Canard. Because I want to.
Oh my God, can we do that? Can we? Do you reckon we could order it for delivery to the hotel? Like to time it so it gets there. And the people at the Lux are all like, what the fuck is this?
What is Damar's Canard? It's duty free, it's from the Cardassian Union, it's fine.
I'm so jealous after last week. Just like seeing that and just being like, I don't care if it tastes horrible. That I want that bottle. I want to have that bottle and fill it with everything, and then every wine I have from now on needs to be served as Canard from that bottle.
Damar's Canard. Hello to everyone in the chat. Hello Beth, hello Christopher, hello Peaches. We've got Nerdy Up North in there, who is saying that I am doing double duty tonight, and that is right, Nerdy Up North, because I am also live on this channel and live on Clone Star Podcast's channel at the exact same time.
That's
reviewing the exact same
was there a
thing.
was there a transporter accident or something?
No, I'm the alternate.
Is there a Thomas Goodwill?
Yeah. I'm the alternate version. I'm the one wearing the Trekking Up North t-shirt, promoting my swag. So yes, I am on the Clone Star podcast channel. So if you think these two are rather crap, go over to Clone Star and watch a professional review of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4.
Featuring you.
Yeah, featuring me. Yeah, that doesn't really work, does it? Yes.
Peaches has said it's the Mirror Goodwill.
It is Mirror Goodwill, yes.
That's it. Have we got Mirror Goodwill today?
He's the one.
Get
with
the eyeliner on.
He's the one with washed hair and a clean face. Also, I'm not drinking tonight. I am having a glass of what the humans call tango.
Oh.
Yes. You know.
Slapper the face.
Tango.
Insert the goose.
Yes. I'm not going to perforate people's eardrums and run around dressed as an orange thing. But yes, so your week has been good, I would assume.
Yeah. My week's been fine. I've had a week off work because I've done that thing where you end up at the end of the year, and I was like, I saved all of my holidays expecting to use them for gigs and stuff, and then I've managed to actually just work around all the gigs. So it's kind of been like, oh, okay, I have like 2 weeks to take. So I just took a random week for Halloween, and then I'm going to take another one in December, I think. Yeah.
Ooh, Halloween.
And Christmas, obviously. So it's like, yes, I've got 2 weeks left now that I've had this week off. So it's a bit crazy.
Halloween. I believe that's when Gothwill appeared. This is not Goth. This is what's left of Gothwill. A very emo tribble.
If people didn't see, and obviously all of the people viewing this probably did see, you need to watch the videos of Gothwill on the Twitch stream because it was fucking. I wasn't there because I was out at Beamish for Halloween, and basically like just came back and saw the video clips, and I was like, "What is this? This is brilliant."
Also, never again will the Thriller redeem be used because that was abused by the lovelies. Because I would do the dance and then someone would redeem it, and then it would be redeemed 4 times in a row, and then twice together, 3 times together, and then at the end, people would just see me with my head in my hands, just going, "Make it stop!" And in between
That's what
all
you
this,
get, Gothwill.
and in between all this, I played Uncharted 2. So I completed it. Huzzah! It only took like 7 years to do that. And then we had a rather saucy game of Quiplash, which will never see the light of day ever again.
Except in that screenshot.
Except in a certain screenshot, which we will not ever discuss.
Onto the Discord.
Onto the Discord, yes. Hello to Captain Joe Dove from Captain's Quadrant, who is possibly enjoying another glass of Damas Canar.
You bastard.
You bastard. Joe's probably going, hang on, why is Captain Goodwill all over the YouTubes? Yes, I am like a virus. I am spreading my seed across all the Star Trek podcasts. But we are here tonight. Treks and Trekkers, I can say that because I don't care. Come at me, Mark. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all genders of all alien races, we are here to review the Season 4 finale of Star Trek Lower Decks. Whew, what an episode this was. I love the fact, really annoyingly, that Paramount were like, you're not having a synopsis, and here are 3 screenshots. And you're like, thank you for helping us do promotions. Old friends.
Like, we're trying to help you, you fucks.
Yeah. Old friends, new planets. Now, a little recap from last week. We realised that the big bad from episode 9, Star Wars: A New Hope, was Nick Locarno from the season 5 episode of Next Generation's First Duty, and everyone was like, ooh, we got a lovely bit of a backstory from Mariner, which I really loved, and I feel like I'm the only person that really loved that episode quite a lot.
Did people not like it? Like when you were speaking to Joe and that?
They didn't not like it, they just said, it was not the strongest episode of the season, and I'm like, to each their own. I do love a little bit of a backstory, but I sort of convinced people that if this was a back-to-back, it would have been a really solid episode. It would have been a solid 2, like an hour finale.
I stand with it. I think last week's was a really good episode. I think it was a really good episode. Like, obviously, I don't agree with you that it was like the best, but it's the fact of it certainly wasn't anywhere near the low point of the season.
Yeah. So
of fireworks. I was just wondering what that banging noise was outside.
Oh,
it's
only rifle fire. It's fine.
That's better. Father?
Oh,
He's back from the war.
The Chavs, they've armed themselves with AR-15s.
They've learned how to use firearms.
Is that gunfire?
Release the chimps.
Oh no, Call of Duty's been released. That's why they are role-playing. They are LARPing.
Yeah, I was really kind of freaked out, if I'm honest, that like on YouTube it came up with like an advert for like the new Call of Duty with like an Eminem song playing, but literally with like a child dressed up as an army thing, and it's like, whoa, you can be a soldier too, and I'm like, what part of this is okay? what part of it's like, hey kid, you can go to war. You love war, it's like, okay. Vietnam vibes right there.
The only issue I have with Call of Duty is their shitty data compression and optimization, because it's like, this game's 4 hours long, 200 gigabytes please. Why?
Yeah, that's it. It's the idea of just being like, Silent Hill 2 was about 4 hours long and fit onto a fucking CD, I think.
Well, I looked at my hard drive when they were when they said like, oh, this is the file size, and I'm not getting it, but I was like, how many games is that? And it's like 5 or 6 games on my PS5 that takes up to 2, and I'm like, that's thousands of hours worth of entertainment, and yet it's 200 gigabytes for like 5 hours worth of a story and God knows how many skins and Nicki Minaj's arse. I don't know what's going on.
That's it. We need texture for that, because heaven knows she does. But
render it, damn it!
Render, damn it! Oh, damn you, JPEG compression. But But yeah, it was like we were talking like privately where we were talking about like CG in films being shit nowadays.
Mm,
And the fact of like rather than practical effects, studios will just be like, oh, but it has to be done with CG. And it's very much like in the past, we got great things because we had limitation, where we
yeah,
had basically going, hey, you can't do the shot you want to do. You have to do this is the best you can do, but it'll be really convincing.
yeah,
Whereas nowadays, they're like, oh, we can do anything, and then we'll just fix it in post with CGI. And then it looks shit because they didn't really think about it enough. But then, and it's the same with like video games, where now that they're like, oh, well, everyone's computers are really high processors and they have sort of like, like 1 terabyte drives in them. So our game can be a quarter of that. And you're like, yes, but you don't understand that they need to have about 50 games on the console at once. You can't just not optimize everything. And
yeah.
it's very much like, a mate of mine who works for Ubisoft says that like the developers are happy just putting stuff on and not like optimizing it. And they keep having to be like, no, no, make compress this fucking texture. But they're like, oh well, it runs fine on my massive like studio PC, and you're like,
Not
yeah, of
everyone
course it
has
does. But
this.
it needs to run on people's PCs,
Yes.
and they're just like, oh well, oh we didn't think about that, and you're like, fucking hell, like the
Make it
back in the
run on
day
a
when you just go,
PS4.
yeah, back in the day where it's like, here's the CD. There is no way to change it once it is on the CD. We need to get this right. Whereas now that they can just be like, oh well, we'll patch it later. It just means that there's a total lack of quality control, I think.
It
There's
is
my video
fairly,
game rant. There we
but it
go.
is fairly scary when you look at Starfield and it's like 130 gigabytes and it's Starfield, and then you've got Call of Duty, which is like 1.5 times the size of that, and you're like, wow, that is it
Yeah.
is the thing is with Call of Duty, it's always been lazy optimization and compression, always, and they just
Sorry, I'm gonna take it back. This is fucking amazing.
oh
This is
really?
probably the nicest wine I've had in ages.
Shall we reach out to them for a
Yeah,
sponsor?
what is it? Yellowtail Jammy Red Roo. That is sorry.
Jam.
It's literally, oh my God, I've got jam in my mouth. My performance on Sunday. Sorry, we need to be talking about Star Trek.
No, no.
My performance on Sunday was so dumb. It was people loved it though. Like there's videos and you can just hear people cackling away, kind of thing, because it was so dumb. And literally just ends up with me throwing jam sandwiches at everyone, playing Pump Up the Jam, covering myself in jam and rubbing it over myself. It was
Have
an
you not
interesting
learned?
performance.
Have you not learned we should not be throwing objects into an audience?
No, no, I was aiming for their eyes. It's fine.
Oh, were they pointed?
And I'm a terrible shot.
Were the sandwiches cut horizontally or diagonally?
Oh no, they were full on triangles.
Wow,
Yeah. They were like bread shurikens.
wow.
Jammy bread shurikens just being flung
Don't
out to the audience.
don't aim it at some Canadian lady's eyes. That's all. I'm going to
Imagine,
say.
imagine
If she was there, imagine if she was there.
She said,
She's
finally,
just
time to go
recovered.
outside again.
Yeah.
It's like,
I finally regained my vision. I can
yeah.
attend this event.
all,
Oh
all the
God!
therapies got rid of the agoraphobia now. I can finally step outdoors. Ah, jam.
Every time she sees a frosted tip, she just falls into the fetal position. But yes, anyway.
We shouldn't be joking
No,
about
we
this.
should not be
shouldn't,
joking.
but it's like,
But she got a skateboard out of it. So, yeah. So,
I think the wonderful thing is like these are the wonderful stories we have where we're just like we've made some fucking mistakes over the years,
improvise,
but it's
adapt,
that thing of
overcome.
like it's wonderful to have those part of the nerdy up north tapestry. I think.
God help our wiki.
Yeah. But God, imagine if there's a wiki. Here's things Graeme has said.
You know for a
That's
fact.
me never getting employed again.
You know for a fact the Discord daddy, that is Lee, is currently optimizing the Nerdy Up North wiki page somewhere.
He can
in
optimize my
secret.
wiki page.
I mean, he can just tear me a new one. I'm just not gonna pull one. But he.
But yeah, to go back to the subject, 15 minutes, cool, we're actually on track. I thought this was a brilliant episode. I thought this was a brilliant end to the season. It didn't seem like a big explosive end to the season, but it very much got all of the loose ends and all of the components of this season and kind of brought them back and celebrated them and kind of tied it up nicely. And then at the end, we get a little sort of like, oh, here's the plot thread for season 5. And I thought that was perfect. I can't think of anything better. Like, I'm actually kind of glad that it wasn't sort of very big. Like, obviously, a battleship does get destroyed, but I thought it was kind of yeah, it was a great little sum up of the whole season, and it's
There's
been such a
no
well-written season altogether.
there is no cliffhanger per se. There is sort of, okay, this is what's happening. See you in season 5. Bye,
Yeah,
and that's
that's
it.
it. It's like there we go. There's the plot thread
Yeah.
that we're going to go for, but
I love the opening scene where we're at Starfleet Command and you see 13 years ago, which is like season 5 of The Next Generation.
was it really that?
Yeah,
Like, is that really where Star Lower Decks is
2381.
placed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 13 years prior to that where we see Locarno trying to convince Nova Squad to do the covert Starburst. We get Will Wheaton back as a guest cameo. We get Shannon Hill, the original Ceto, back.
Really?
Yes, we do. She came back and she voiced Ceto. We get obviously Bob McNeil, Robert Duncan McNeil as Locarno. We finally get to see Josh, who
That's what
was
I wrote down. I was really glad that we actually got to hear or see Josh because
yeah.
yeah, because he's already dead by the time we reach them in
Well, I mean,
the
he's
episode.
yeah, I mean, dead is yes, I would say so. Atomized is a more astute word for it, but yeah, and it's a nice little cameo because we get to see a first year cadet Mariner who is eager, who is excited to do Xeno history. She idolizes Ceto.
I love that she mentions the Zindi, and we're like, wait, we get an
Yeah,
Enterprise
have you heard this
callback.
indie? They're awesome, and I'm just like, they fucking were. They fucking were awesome. Yes,
I disagree.
Vaughn Armstrong played a
I did
Zindi.
not like the Zindi. I just like, how does this happen? You need to explain how five different, totally different life forms exist on one planet.
Science. Science.
That's your excuse for everything, damn you scientists.
Vaughn Armstrong, who beat Jeffrey Combs to have the most reoccurring different character roles in Star Trek, played a Zindi as well as Admiral Daddy in Enterprise at the same time. So, people go on about Jeffrey
Admiral
Combs.
Daddy.
We go on about Jeffrey Combs all the time, but Vaughn Armstrong, that dude can play roles. And he's
Yeah.
a STLV.
Mm.
So, Admiral Daddy. So, and so is Connor Trinier, so my tips are going to be
Ensign
excellent.
Bailey's joined the chat.
Ensign,
Hi, Ensign Bailey.
Just a quick side note to everyone, by the way. There is a demand for t-shirts. I have t-shirts. I
Weirdos.
don't have the time to go to the post office to post said t-shirt.
That old gem.
That old. They will be coming. There's been issues this week. They will be posted out. I have got a nice little pile, but Ensign Bailey, I will be asking for your address this week because I am making the time to go to the post office and go, hello, post this shit, please. But t-shirts are coming. If you do want a Trekking Up North t-shirt, send me a message on any of the socials, on Twitter or on Facebook, and I will endeavour to get one made for you from my lovely cult leader because holy cow, they are in demand, y'all. But we also
That is crazy. It's so good that so many people want a little
But let's not
Trekking
forget.
Up North shirts.
Let's not forget we do have Monsters Up North t-shirts and general Nerdy Up North t-shirts and new designs for t-shirts.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one of them because Monsters Up North is actually good. It's not like this shit. I deserve that right there. Getting
are
the
adequate.
the finger. We are adequate.
We are adequate. We are not as handsome and as gorgeous as Sammy and Dan.
I think that'd be quite fun if we actually the next convention we do, like if we're wearing Monsters Up North t-shirts rather than the one we actually do.
We just cosplay as Sammy and Dan.
Oh, Bagsy Dan, Bagsy Dan.
Damn it.
Yeah, you have to be Sammy.
But I can't
Return
be that.
of Gothwill.
I can't be that. Yes! I can't be that
Literally,
good looking.
just black hair, black dress,
Oh my God.
or like metal t-shirt.
The cat
and then
headband
literally
is still there.
There we go. And then just carry around like an unboxed figure.
I shall carry
whole
a
time.
Jar Jar Binks in a box, pristine.
There you go.
I am Deanna Troy.
Captain.
You could go as Loxana Snatch, and I can go as Deanna Troy. Deanna Snatch.
Only if we do the whole workout scene. We do the whole gymnastics scene.
Yes. Yes. I'm sensing Snatch. I need to get this off now. Hang on.
Is it really warm that way?
Holy crap, yes. 2 hours in Twitch with lots of hot lighting around you, yes.
Oh.
But yeah, the back to the show. The little Starfleet headquarters scene, it was really nice because you can see Nick trying to convince them all that this is a good idea and they're going to go down as a legend, and even Sito's going, no, you're going to go down as a legend because everyone will remember you. And you're like, yeah, it's an ego stroke. That's exactly
It
what
is. It is really cool though that they've kind of painted him as this kind of character where it's very much like, he's like a salesman where he's selling everyone on this idea, but effectively the idea isn't about them, it's about him.
Yeah.
And there's something like wonderful about this kind of villain because what is it? Is it narcissism or is it just
It's
psychopathy?
it's not, well, I mean, it's sociopathic, I would say.
Right,
But,
yeah.
well, I mean, no, it's not a sociopath. It's not a sociopath because he does feel the emotions. He does feel the guilt, but he deflects it's Trumpism. So we'll just say that because everything's not his fault, it's someone else's, and his mind will always rationalize why it's never his fault. So there's a bit of narcissism, a bit of what do they call it? Sociopath?
Sociopathy, maybe.
Sociopathy.
No, homeopathy.
Yeah, crystals. So but there's elements of that. Back on present day, we see that obviously because Mariner was kidnapped by Locarno onto his lovely clean ship. Quickly says that she's not a prisoner, but he wants her to join Nova Fleet. We warp into his fleet where we see like a space dock, and all the ships that he's stolen are all there. So he's trying to convince Mariner that you're not a prisoner. I want you at my side. I have got all these lower deckers from all these alien races. You are the Starfleet lower decker.
Yeah. Hey Lee, hey, I hope you're doing okay. What are you wearing? Lee's just joined the chat. The
Hey.
daddy of Discord. I actually I love in this scene how haggard Locarno looks. Like it's the thing, Jake might like this, but it's the thing that I immediately thought seeing him is that he looks just so sort of like he hasn't slept at all. Like he's just absolutely gone crazy trying to sort all of this out and trying to sort of find a reason why he's not at fault kind of thing. And it just reminds me of Milhouse's dad from The Simpsons when he's getting a divorce. It's like, I sleep in a race car. Do you?
Can I borrow a feeling?
Yeah, it's like that whole thing. Like, it's just him being like, yeah, I'm totally fine. And then he's just got these sunken bags under his eyes. He's like unshaved. He hasn't dyed his hair, so it's part gray. And I was just going like, you don't seem like someone who's fine. And
Hang on. He's got bags under his eyes. He
Yeah.
hasn't shaven, and he's right. Okay, screw you.
You and whose fleet?
Yeah,
'Cause at my age, it does actually take that many.
a fleet.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's an interesting Craigslist advert for you.
He's got a separate room.
So what
at
happens
Vegas,
in the
guys.
next scene, Goodwill?
He's got a separate room at Vegas. That's all I'm saying.
I love how I don't get it though when we're booking the hotel and it's got like, do you want a king size bed or two queen size beds? And I'm like, can't you push the queen size beds together and get what's beyond a king? Is it like an emperor bed? I don't know.
Prostitution is legal in Nevada. Anyway, the ready room. There's a reason. The
Oh my god! Oh my god! Could we hire prostitutes and get them to play Warhammer? You can do that, can't you? That'd be amazing. we just hire some prostitutes, okay? We'll get like a rent boy, we'll get a prostitute, it'll be like fine. And then we're just like going, cool, we don't actually want to do anything with you, but here's Warhammer. And then we just, oh, it'll be amazing.
Back in the ready room on the Cerritos, we see Freeman talking to her husband and another admiral who order her to stand down due to the fact that Locarno has sort of coerced other alien races into his fleet, and if Starfleet intrudes and there's crossfire, it could cause an interstellar incident with the Klingons and everything. They've gone to the embassies. They just want the Cerritos to stand down. Freeman.
I like in this. I like in Lower Decks. We're not seeing any badmirals, but we're seeing a lot of shadmirals, as in shit admirals, where like they're just like, hey,
Yeah.
let's just not do anything
Really
about anything.
stupid admirals.
Yeah, and it's like
Stadmirals.
remember where they were dealing with the Ferengi.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when they're dealing with Rom the Ferengi, and you're just like, oh, you're just terrible at this. Like,
You
and it
didn't
is
do
just
any
quite funny
research.
though. But yeah, but it's just weird that like the admirals are just like, yeah, they're just very ineffectual. And this whole scene is just getting caught up in the bureaucracy of it, and rather than trying to save Mariner, and rather than like trying to solve the thing, they're going, oh, how can we cover ourselves and stop it becoming like a, you know, an incident.
I would say on one hand there's I can count the amount of effective admirals on one hand. The admiral from DS9
Mm.
that helps Cisco, who sadly passed away. Kirk, Picard, and
Mm.
Jellicoe from Prodigy. That's it.
But the thing is, Picard kind of becomes a bad admiral himself, like in season 3 of Picard, because he's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
going,
yeah.
he causes a lot of chaos. Like he makes situations worse, you know, by
He
what he does.
he
Who's
murdered.
the terrible one who's in TNG? The blonde woman.
Oh, she's an admiral in Picard because she gets the Enterprise F.
Yeah.
She gets
No, she's
unalived.
not. She's an admiral
Oh
in
yes.
TNG as well.
Oh
She's my
oh
least favorite, and that's
oh my
including
God.
the
What's her
guy who
name?
did who bloody Rikers for the guy who owned the Pegasus. Like I dislike her more than I dislike the guy who trapped his ship in a rock.
We've got Admiral Satie, Nora Satie, who was the after the witch hunt. We've got Nechayev,
As a bad admiral,
Admiral Nechayev, who's a
Nechayev.
wonderful. To be honest, she is in real life. She is a wonderful person. But yeah,
Hmm.
she plays a. But so does Jellicoe, like the actor that
Which
plays
she's a
Jellicoe.
great actress. Both of them are like
Yeah, yeah.
astonishing actors, but to the point where you're just like, oh, I hate this character. You know, it's just like, what mess are you going to get us in this
They
time?
don't do a Stashwick where we're just like, give us the series. Oh, never mind. So, back at Nova Fleet, a lovely little reference to the fact that Nick designed his ship and it's got no carpets or wood paneling. Screw you! I like carpets on my ships. That's all I
Yeah,
have
that's
to say.
it's the fact of how boring the ship looks. But then I do love all of Mariner's quotes throughout this scene, just where, yeah, where Mariner's just like, very cool, not ominous at all, like the idea of the plan. And then when he's sitting down to send a transmission to all of the Alpha Quadrant, he's like, how do I look? And she's like, confident, but in a creepy
Yeah.
way.
And then he announces, because he announces to the entire Alpha Quadrant that if you are a lower decker, you hate middle management. I said this in the Clone Star podcast. This season has sort of been an education for people to go, hi, you get promoted. These are the responsibilities that you will have. This is what effect it will have on your friendship. And basically, yeah, like your decisions will matter, and sort of like the responsibilities of command and stuff like that. And I love the fact in this scene where he announces he's got a Genesis device, and he's like, "You hate middle management and stuff like that. Join Nova Fleet in the Detrion system." And
Yeah.
we can welcome you in, and we've got this impenetrable Trinar shielding. And he goes, and to testify, I've got Beckett Mariner. Take it away, Beckett. And she's just like, nope, dude's a psycho. See ya. Takes the Genesis device, just runs. And I'm like, yes.
I love it so much that he's just like, go on, Baronet, explain, like, And this idea that his whole character is how he just doesn't get people.
No.
Like people are genuinely tools to him, and he doesn't actually understand that they have differing opinions. He's like, well, why wouldn't anyone think my idea is the best thing in the entire world? I'm flawless. And the idea that he's just like, hey, Mariner, we haven't discussed whether you're actually on board with stuff. I'm just going to assume it because I'm an idiot, and then puts her on screen in front of the entire Alpha Quadrant and just goes, hey, like, well, what do you think of the plan? And she just goes, this guy sucks. And then kicks the fucking like casing holding the Genesis device into him,
I love it.
grabs it out, and then just belts it out of the room with it. I mean, the thing is, Lacano's psychology is really fascinating in the capacity of like, that whole idea of like, you kind of get it where remember in the final one of the Cornetto trilogy, like World's End, where it's basically all about Simon Pegg not moving on. So basically,
Yeah, because he just wants to
he's
go
like
to the
this,
pub with his friends.
yeah, he's this edgy goth who like is stuck in a cycle of life that he's never going to get out of, and all of his friends have gone off and had lives, and he just stays where he fucking is with this life, and he kind of assumes that this has to be the best life possible because it's all he's got, and he must have the best thing, his must be the best life because he's never experienced
He's
anything.
never
And
matured emotionally through the stages of
yeah,
life that most people do.
and Lacano's got that. Like
Yeah,
Lacano's literally just like, oh, I didn't graduate from Starfleet Academy because I got kicked out. So graduating and people who get successful in Starfleet must suck. Like that
yeah.
that must be the wrong thing. So I need everyone to just bring themselves down to my level in order to make myself feel like, oh well, I'm at the perfect level being a fucking failure because I'm surrounding myself with people who are failures. And it's like, yeah, it's just such a weird plan that he's got. And also the idea of just going, hey, do you hate leadership and authority?
We are all
Join my
equals.
thing where we will require leadership and authority. And you're
No,
like,
but they're all equals. His USP is there is no one in command. We are all equals, which sort
yeah,
of
and you're
falls
like,
down flat on its ass later on.
wait, it's literally one of those things. It's like, obviously I'm a socialist, but the idea of communism doesn't work with humans because you just go like, but you're human. How can communism work? It's the idea of, okay, cool. We'll just put someone in charge, but we'll have nobody in charge.
Yeah.
But then we'll have people deciding everything. But then, and you're like, oh, that just can't work. Like, and that's the thing. It's the whole plan is just, yeah. And
I've
the
just
whole
been
plan
given.
is his arrogance.
Sorry, I've just been given some information. There is a slight buzzing in my microphone. So, uno
In your
in
microphone.
my microphone.
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it. How
No.
can buzz? One moment,
How
guys.
can Buzz? Okay. Hold on. Lee hasn't told me what he's wearing yet. Hold on. I'm going to scroll
Can
up.
you hear me now, Science Officer Synoiz? Am I a bit quiet?
You are. You're very quiet.
How about now?
No.
Can you hear me?
I'm just going to assume Spider-Man onesie. Say again?
Can you hear me now, Science Officer
Yeah.
Synoiz?
Yeah, me know.
Guys, this is the reason why Nerdy Up North needs funding. For just £2 a month, you can upgrade my snowball to a decent microphone. For just £2 a month.
Give us
Synoiz-
money and you can snowball Goodwill. That's all I heard.
Yes, and for just £2 a month, Synoiz will send you one of his sexy calendars.
I don't even have a fucking calendar. That's why I'm so disorganized.
Have I got? If someone in the chat can just please confirm, Goodwill fuzzy now though. Now I can hear the background noise.
Yeah. You sound worse now. Go back to what you had. I didn't hear it, Buzz.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you sound a bit
Quiet.
like the treble's gone, maybe. Honk?
Honk. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
I can hear you. It's not better, but well, it's
It's like someone's gently blowing into
what
the
what do you
mic.
what do you well what
hear
did
me
you
now?
change to? Is it a different microphone?
No, it's the same microphone. It's very.
Oh, all the
old.
settings on the back.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Have
is
I
it
got-
is it a blue?
It is a blue. Dabba-dee-dabba.
Ah, right, yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me
Go
now?
back to the one you had. It's the
No, this is the one I have had all the way through. It's just starting to die. So
Okay,
that's
right.
a little quiet. Test. 1, 2.
Yeah, it's a little bit quiet, but it's yeah.
How about now? Can you hear me now, everybody? Hello.
No, there's crackle and buzz and stuff now.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hey
Test,
there,
test,
nothing
test. 1
eloquent.
2 1 2 1 2.
Nothing elegant. How
That's
are
a
you
bit
doing?
better. Am I still quiet now?
The buzz and stuff have gone now, but you're still quiet. So turn it up.
Turn around, bright eyes.
Every now and then I touch an
Every now and
arse.
then I fall apart. Although the levels seem to be okay.
A total collapse of my arse.
If someone can confirm that there's right, I'm just gonna do it myself. No, I can hear it. It's fine. There is no buzzing. Quiet.
Yeah, you do quiet. Okay.
Test, test, test. 1 2 1 2 1 2.
That sounds good. Use that.
Yeah, that's fine. Right. Okay.
There we go.
If
Okay.
there are any audio issues, apologies, guys. If there are any audio issues, it's everything is falling apart, much like Bonnie Tyler. So, oh, that's a little bit red
Yeah,
there.
I don't. Who said there was a buzz? I couldn't hear anything. I'd
A lot
never heard a
better.
buzz.
That's fine. Thank
Much
you
better.
so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Apologies for the technical issues. An investment in a microphone will be made in due haste. My little snowball has served its purpose for as long as it can. It's 12 years old. I bought it used with the pennies that I had, and it has served me well. It is time to be retired. Go over to pastures new. Lee's just said whipped cream and a bowler hat, and I think I've just blacked out for a second. Anyway, back to lower deck. Don't look so nice.
It's gone really fuzzy. It's gone really fuzzy.
It's got really fuzzy again.
You've gone. Nope, you're silent now.
Am I silent? Have I gone?
I don't know what's going on.
Have I gone completely? Hello?
No, we can hear bits of it, but it's like very static. Like, did you touch anything, or did you knock the wire, or?
How about now?
Yeah, you sound okay now.
How about now?
Yep.
Is that
It's
fine?
quieter, but it's no fuzz. So let's go with it.
I'm going to buy
Anyway,
a
what I'll do,
microphone tomorrow.
I'll get a tube and I can talk through that, and then we'll sound the same.
Shall I call you and you call me?
Hello.
Very
Hello.
fuzzy. Have had to mute.
Oh, hello. Can you hear us? No, you sound fine now.
I can hear no buzzing. Right. If you are all winding me up, this is not the day to do it.
No. You sound fine now. You
Right.
sound fine
Okay.
now, Goodwill.
I apologise.
Yeah.
We would cut this out, but we can't. So, I love the rousing speech that Freeman gives to the crew of the Cerritos. Cerritos strong, and you just get Tana going, let's fuck shit up!
But yeah, it basically, she just goes, okay, I'm just going to totally ignore everything Starfleet wants me to do. Who's with me? And then obviously all of the crew were like, yep, let's go do this. So it's a great little rousing speech. And obviously it's quite good because like in this series, we've had some characters that haven't really got much time to kind of shine. But then unlike, say, another Star Trek series that's getting its last season next year, it basically uses all the characters and makes sure that they have an appearance in every moment. And here it kind of has all of the major characters and crew getting a bit of representation throughout the episode and getting a line and
Gudgy.
stuff like that, which is quite fun.
You get Gudgy as well.
Gudgy? Who's Gudgy? Oh, yeah, Gudgy appears randomly.
Yeah.
I totally saw that and I was like, I forgot you're still around. That was a terrible
But
episode.
Tendi has an idea. She thinks she can find a way to get past the Trinar shield. Back on the Nova Fleet space dock, Mariner is running with his Genesis device, stumbles upon an old starship, gets on board. And when I saw this, and I was like, this is a Starfleet ship, because I looked at the bridge and I'm like, ooh, and then it warps out, and it is a... Now I'm going to nerd out about this, guys, because this is a steam runner class. Where is it?
Oh, what on earth is one of them? What has it appeared in?
Star Trek First Contact, and that was it. There was a fun story about this, right? So when First Contact was made, ILM and Foundation, I think it was just ILM at the time, made a load of starships, low poly, low render, because they were just going to be background, and that was it. They were going to be using DS9 and everything like that going forward. However, the files...
Well, DS9 needed all of the all the ships it could get, with the crazy battles it did.
But some of the files were corrupt. So for the longest time, we lost the steam runner. So we never saw it until season 2 of Picard, where Dave Blass, who did the Stargazer with Doug Drexler, needed a load of ships, so reached out to Eaglemoss, who made these lovely models. Eaglemoss, when they couldn't find all the renders to do designs and CAD-CAM and everything like that, just went, we will build it ourselves. Built these high-res images of these ships. Dave Blass knew this, so a model maker in England helped supply models to Paramount to recreate it in season 2 and now in season 4 of Lower Decks. So because someone decided to rebuild these ships out of the sheer love and make the models, they then got back into Star Trek, which is really cool that some person made the effort to do that, and then Paramount recognized it and were like, yeah, we want to use that.
See, but that's really cool. It's like what we're getting with the remasters of like DS9 and Voyager, where there's that guy online who's doing 4K versions of 4K versions of like DS9 and Voyager, and they're better than the stuff that Paramount's actually releasing on Blu-ray. And you're just like, yeah, you need to pick this up, Paramount. You need to give this guy money and then use his versions for stuff, you know.
The
It's
issue
only profit, basically.
the issue they have, unlike the Next Generation, which filmed on high quality Panavision cameras and film, DS9 and Voyager used a different type of film, which makes it harder and more expensive to upscale, because the problem with DS9 and Voyager, when you upscale, you see the glaring issues with the sets, with the uniforms, with reflections and stuff like that. So,
Well, it was like we were saying with Picard, weren't we? Where the reason why all of the sets are really dark is because they're like, oh, you can blatantly see that that's makeup
yeah, because
now
everything's shot in
because of
8K.
the.
Yeah,
That was a weird thing. Like, while I love Strange New Worlds, you can very much tell when like that Spock's ears are stuck on.
yeah.
Like, you can very much tell that they're prosthetics purely because of how high definition it's filmed. But these are the things, though. But it's the fact of these versions, like these upreses that like this guy is doing, is better than what they were able to achieve for
It's
like TNG's ones. You
it's
know?
very expensive, and it goes back to when they
No, but he
remastered.
did a film. He's made an AI for it though. He made
Oh
well,
yeah,
no, not
yeah.
AI. But basically, he just went, okay, cool. I can just bash these out because I've basically made a thing that'll upraise everything. And they're just like, oh, we were doing it from film, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, and it's sort of he's made them realize there's a cost of it. It's very much like the guy who saw an issue with Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto 5, where it was like, your load times are ridiculous. I have found a way to reduce them immeasurably, so it's almost instantaneous on a solid state drive. And they actually hired him because they were like, holy crap, we didn't think of that. And it's very much with Paramount, because the justification why they couldn't do it was they were taking it off film. The film is different for Voyager and DS9, and it is budgetary costs were a lot, so they did it for the original series and TNG. However, when they were looking at this, AI was in its infancy, and now it's just like, no, this AI can legitimately do it, render it at 4K and get it done. But it's if Paramount can be asked to spend money on Star Trek.
it's that annoying thing because it's like surely you just like just take it, okay? Just
Yeah,
give this guy money and then make way more because you know what they're gonna do. The fucking But the thing is, what people are saying is they haven't done upreses or remasters of DS9 and Voyager
never.
because the TNG ones didn't sell very well. But then it was because they went, it's £300 for this, and you're like, who would pay that? Like you mad actual bastards,
It's also
releasing it at that cost, and then and then didn't they try and release like all of Voyager on like VHS or something? Wasn't there something where they
back
did
in the
something?
day they tried to,
No,
but
no, like no, this is recently. They just went,
what?
hey, yeah, it was something weird where they went, hey, experience it like it was, and you're like, who would buy that? I'm
No,
sure there was something insane.
no.
Yeah.
What was I? What was I? Shit, what was I going to say? The Michael Kuda made a really good point about it. It's not about sales or anything like that. The most important thing about upscaling them and like slightly modernizing, which is what they did with TNG, where it's just like the tiniest little LCAR screen has an updated thing to make it this. It's preserving them for future generations to
Yeah.
enjoy, like they did with the original series, where if you go to any syndication channel now that has the original series, the standard is the remastered version from 2005. It's not the original version, because the remastered one, when they did that, Paramount were like, we are going to remaster it, we are going to make the visual effects shots better, we are going to make the ship look better, move better, and everyone was like, no, because that takes away from the
Yeah, you don't
style
need
at the
to.
time. Yeah. So they literally, they extended certain shots, which is fine, but basically did shot for shot of what the props did, but they just animated it in a way that was still the 60s, which is how they
Yeah.
should. And they could quite easily do that, because I've seen CGI tests where they've done like the Tears of the Prophets battle scene, where Cisco is in the Defiant and they're flying and they're doing the run, and it's like, holy crap, the CGI is better than what it was. And the CGI
Yeah.
was for space shots was good at the time, but they are modernizing it for the audiences and making it compatible with 4K. And what they've said is like the VFX shots for DS9 and Voyager, they weren't like separate. They
They
would
were on the film.
yeah, they have to completely re-render those segments and then put them in, which means that yes, you can upscale it, but the VFX shots will look incredibly dated and incredibly pixel. It's essentially like if you put a PS1 game, the new Metal Gear, the Metal Gear Solid Collection. You put
Yeah.
a PS1 game into a PS5 on a 43-inch 4K TV, you see polygons, you see pixelation, you see tearing, because it's not up-resed, it's still the game from 20 years ago.
But this is the problem though, where I'm in the court of going, but that's what it is, you know?
It is, yeah.
I really like this thing where we're getting loads of indie games coming out, where they're games created today, but specifically to look like they're on the PS1.
Yeah.
So basically, it's very massive polygons and everything's a bit crap, and there's loads of tearing and stuff in the graphics. And when you walk into a wall, it basically shifts a little bit and
It's
stuff.
the charm.
And people are like, this is the charm.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And I'm just like, I would like an up-res version of DS9 where you've just taken, used AI or whatever to basically make the
You've
spaceship
cleaned it.
scenes like better.
Yeah.
But I'd much prefer it to look a bit shitty rather than go like, oh, we've spent 10 years remastering it piece by piece, and therefore the DVD is £400. It's like,
But again, Paramount doesn't realise there is a legion of fans that will go, oh, we'll do it. It's like, we say all the time, if you want extras, if you want people behind the scenes, there will be a legion of fans who will be like, I will get coffee because the honour of being on a Star Trek show.
Yeah.
If, we need talented CGI renderers to do this. There will be an army of fans that will be like, I can do it. I can.
Well, this is the crazy thing. A lot of the time, like we had this with Games Workshop, well, when they killed off Warhammer and they brought out Age of Sigmar, basically it just meant that all of the Warhammer community online basically like took it on. So basically, like then they started adapting it and bringing out new editions and bringing out new rules, and like other companies start bringing out new models for it and stuff. And it got way better. Like it got better than what Games Workshop were doing with it, where the rules were just better, they were better play tested. And it was all because it was coming from a place of not profit, because it was all free. So because it was coming from like someone just doing it in their bedroom and being like, oh, we need to make this perfect, it meant that they were able to put like test tools out there and then play test them and then go, oh, that doesn't work, we'll tweak it. Oh, cool, it works now. Whereas Games Workshop are like, oh, well, we can't leak stuff because then people aren't going to pay £40 for the book. So we just won't play test it then. And you're like, okay, that's terrible. So you just get stuff where like, oh, we only play tested it with like 10 people to stop leaks happening, and then now nothing is balanced and it's all a big pile of shit, but you paid £100 for that rule book. Well done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Anyway, Star Trek episode.
So Mariner takes the Steamrunner class ship.
I love the idea that when in the first, is it the first bit? Yeah, it's basically like how what's his name? Lacano describes himself as the first independent like unaligned fleet in the quadrant. And then basically and Boimler's just like the Marquis would like a word.
We forgot to address something.
Yeah.
When Locarno does his quadrant-wide message, the
Yeah.
30-year-old elephant in the room gets addressed
Yeah, yeah.
and never talked about ever again. Where Rutherford just goes, he kind of looks like Tom Paris, and Boimler just goes, oh, I don't see it. And then Boimler goes, and then Rutherford's like, no, but he's got the exact same face as Tom Paris. Has he?
Yeah, it's like,
He's
nah, I
got
don't
the
see
same
it.
voice and face as Tom Paris. No, I don't see it. And then that's it.
I
Never
I just
talked
love
about
that
ever
they're just
again.
like going, yep, cool, it's a thing, and I think that's cool that they've kind of gone like, look, we've doubled down on it. We've totally they were meant to be the same person, but we've totally separated them out as different entities,
I love
and we've
that.
made a joke about it. It's Lower Deck, and Lower Decks does it a lot in this episode, where it basically has a lot of like, hey, that whole silly thing, we're just gonna roll with it.
Back on Orion, the Cerritos has arrived and Tendi is pleading for help from her sisters. What she needs is an Orion destroyer because they need something with firepower that can take down this Trinar shield on the Detrion system so they can save their friends. They initially refuse because the sister goes, why can't you go to the Federation? And Rutherford just goes, no can do, Tendi 2.
I love that. Like, she's like an empress. She's fucking empress called like Dierica, and they're
Yeah,
just like, nope, we're gonna call you Tendi 2.
I
Which
love
is
that. I called Mike 1 last night because I was Mike 2, he was Mike 1. The two Mikes. So basically, it's a no. She's overseen the merger of two Orion pirate families, but then Tendi goes, I demand barter by combat.
I got that in capitals on my notes.
Have you barter
But
by
yeah.
combat? Yes. Back on the USS Pissarro, which is
Also, I just want to point out the fact of how much I love that, like Mariner, when she steals the ship in the previous scene, she just has the Genesis device, like this world creating, it's ending, but
ending
creating a
slash
device.
creating.
And she makes it her first officer, where she basically buckles it into the first officer's seat and then talks to it throughout all of the future
Oh,
scenes and
he's got it
stuff.
bad for you, girl.
Yeah, that's it. And then refers to it as like GD, as
Yeah,
like the Genesis device. But it's also the idea of like when she steals the ship, she just seems to guess a command code. Like she just guesses her mom's command
and
codes
it
to
works.
like steal it. And she's like, oh, okay,
Yeah. The
It's so
The
silly, the
ship
whole
is
thing.
called the U.S.S. Pissarro in tribute of Fabio. Is it Fabio or Fabian? I don't want to. No, it's Fabio Pissarro, who was
Adio.
he was a digital artist who sadly passed away last year. So they dedicated this ship and then another ship in, I believe it was Prodigy or the Picard fleet,
Yeah.
in his honor, which I thought was very
That's
very touching,
amazing.
very
That's
nice.
amazing and really sweet.
So yeah, Mariner is on the run from Nova Fleet. She can't escape the system because of the Trinar shield, so she just decides, well, screw this, I'm just going to run back into the system. Back on Orion, we've got Tendi. The deal is essentially it's a barter by combat. The Orions get to choose their champion. The Cerritos get to choose their champion. The winner, if the Orions win, they get the Cerritos. If the Cerritos wins, they get the Orion Destroyer. The Orions choose what I have lovingly called She-Hulk, or Shax and a Half, as they call her.
Yeah.
And then Tendi just goes Dr. Miglimo.
Yeah, like
Why
Tendi
is he
seems
on
to
the away
think about
party as well? That's what I
yeah,
wanted to know.
why is Miggly Mo at all? Like,
Yeah.
how can Miggly Mo,
You
basically?
don't have to throw up in my mouth twice.
I love the problem is I hate Miggly Mo as a character because they're an
Really?
utter idiot. But then
Oh,
I love them because they literally the show embraces how shit they are and just goes, no, that's their character. Their character is that they are utterly useless. And I just it's so good about I mean, we get a line later on, which is basically I will recite when we get to it. But
oh yes.
I love
So,
that she like everyone else is like demonstrating how good they'd be for the fight and how ready they are for the fight. And like Miggly Mo's just eating sweets in the corner.
but Shax is literally foaming at the
Yeah, he's
mouth.
like, bring it on.
It's just like full on like rabies, Bajoran satire. I love that. And I'm just like, Migley Mode is like, what? Pissarro is still running for its life. Mariner
We
finds. So go on.
Well, hold on. What is it? Yeah. Before we get back to it, we basically have it where Mariner's still running for their life, and they go through an ice planet
Yeah, she
system where there's
hides.
loads of debris.
She hides on the rings, the ice rings of this planet, where
Hmm.
she disables a Ferengi by venting the plasma. She tries to
And
convince the Ferengi as well.
it's quite cool though because we actually get the rules of acquisition being quoted in it. But like, the ones we get are where basically she gets behind the. There we are. Can you check whether 289 is on there?
289 was added after this.
That's the thing, because I'm like, I do not remember this one at all. I wonder if it's like just made up for this episode.
This was 1997. So this
Yeah, but we
sacred
barely had
text.
any Ferengi stuff since
Yeah,
then.
this sacred text was fairly new out of the
What does it
gate.
go up to?
285.
285. Okay, so this has
Yeah.
been made up for this episode.
The,
I'm calling it.
the last rule of acquisition we've got here is rule of acquisition 285. No good deed ever goes unpunished. But
Yeah,
then
I
we
remember
do
that one.
get, because obviously this is before Rom became Grand Nagus, we get Grand Nagus Zek's revised rules of acquisition.
Oh no.
1A, if they want their money back, give it to them. 10R, greed is dead. 21 Alpha, never place profit before friendship. 22 Alpha, Latinum tarnishes, but family is forever. 23 Alpha, money can never replace dignity. And finally, 285 Alpha, a good deed is its own reward.
You can tell he was possessed, like.
Oh, I mean, Moogie. So, had it by
No,
the
it
Umax.
was the prophets. The prophets had taken him over, hadn't they?
She given good Umax. No, it's Moogie given good Umax. That's all I'm going to say.
No, it was because the prophets basically went into the wormhole
They
to
did,
try
yes.
and reason with the prophets, and they changed him and then made him into a better person. And then they were like, "Yeah, but you're missing the point of him being a Ferengi." That's a great episode of DS9. But yeah, I don't remember this one, but we get the rules of acquisition we have here is that Mariner tries to reason with them by saying, "Rule of acquisition 91, your boss is only worth what he pays you," which should be on there. And then the new
No,
one, is it not?
it goes from 89 to 94.
Oh wow, okay.
Females and finances don't mix.
Ooh, 90s. But we did, and then they argue back with 289, shoot first, count profits
I
later.
love that. I absolutely, because it just reminded me of the cop landlords from the
Yeah.
Garth Ferengi's Dark Place. Or yeah,
That's it. I just love that like we're still adding rules of acquisition. Like
good.
we're still fleshing out Trek, you know?
Good. We need to flesh out Trek. So she hides in the
Yeah.
ice field and powers down. Very Now I got
This has
I
never worked
got
before.
Titan AI references with this little ice field, and I know that's probably niche as anything for a load of people watching and listening. But Titan AI, it was that. So as soon as she warps out later on,
AE, isn't it?
AE Titan AI.
Yeah.
Did I say Titan AI? Sorry,
Yeah.
been up for nearly 24 hours. Yeah, Titan AE, get ready for the human race. And when she like warps out later on, I was sat there going, "Can you take me
I
high?"
I loved it. I during lockdown, I went on a massive binge watching all of the the Disney and John Bluth
It's
films
on
that I
Disney
never
Plus,
really
by the
got to
way.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I watched Titan AE and I was like, this is so early 2000s, it hurts. Like,
but it's
where
so
it literally has
underrated as well for the story
it's
that
a
it had.
really good film. It's like Anastasia, where you're just like, this is a great film. Like
It's
this
not a
is
kids'
on par
film.
with a Disney film.
Certainly not a kids' film.
Well, actually, I didn't put it in my notes, but I was laughing that like Amazon the next scene we get with Mariner after this
Yeah,
has her yelling "fucking Romulans" and
I
just
love that. Yeah.
barely bleeped out. And then on Amazon, when I was like loading up the episode, it just says kids. It's in the kids section, and you're like, it comes up saying NR as in not rated when you start the episode. I'm like, whatever section you would put Lower Decks in, it's not the kids
So hang on.
section.
Are we saying the scene in one of the Lower Decks episodes where Boimler exposes his grundle, that is for kids?
That's it. And
Wow.
I'm just like, it's like the people at like Amazon or Paramount Plus have just gone like, oh, it's animated kids. And you're like, oh, Fritz the cat would like to have a word. I might have had half a bottle of wine.
Back on Orion, we find that Tendy's plan is coming to fruition of nominating Miglimo to fight She-Hulk, Shax and a Half. Because it turns out that...
How do they have a suit of gladiator armor that fits him?
I don't know. They've
Like
got
he's a
quick
bird.
welders. They've got quick welders. But it turns out that the reason why she chose Miglimo is because Shax and a Half is allergic to down, so she just tells him to puff up. But it's embarrassing. Puff up! Puffs up. She gets...
No, but then he puffs up and it looks hilarious.
Because
like
there's
you
a
need to watch the
chicken
episode
noise.
just to see this. But he basically puffs up and he just looks like a massive, like an Easter chick, like a massive Easter chick, like being all.
It's absolutely insane. But
And it turns out that the way he beats her is that she has severe allergies. So when he puffs up his down, it basically like means that she ends up sneezing herself unconscious.
But the
Effectively,
major plot twist is she passes out on Miglimo, effectively pinning him, making it that she is the winner.
which wasn't Tendy's plan.
No,
And I would argue this because I'd be like, hang on, she's unconscious, he's not. Those are silly rules.
And I love the fact that Tendy's sister's like, prepare the documents and get her inhaler. Back on the Pissarro, Mariner is working out her next move as she hides in the ice field, and she decides, you know what, the bargaining chip that he's got, let's just detonate the Genesis device. Luckily, this star system, out of all the star systems, has got one uninhabited planet completely devoid of life. Hello, plot contrivance.
Yeah, that's it. Hello, Detrion 9, who we've never mentioned before.
So she zooms out to the ice field, and then we get an Empire Strikes Back reference where we see the vertical warbird decloak and zoom after her. And I'm like, why would you decloak and then zoom after her? Because her sensors would pick you up. You would just keep cloak.
I think this is one of those things, like we get in anything where you just go, oh, they have to do stupid stuff because otherwise they would just win.
Science.
It's like Dick Dastardly being like, hey, I'll just pause halfway through the race to set up the trap for the people who are already behind me because I'm an idiot. It's, it's this idea of just being like, oh, well, like it's that a lot of the time in Star Trek we have like villains who are just like, hey, if I just stayed cloaked and killed you, I would win. And they're like, no, I've got to
only I just stayed cloaked and murdered him. Well, yeah, Metal Gear Solid stealth camouflage.
Also, when you're playing Metal Gear Solid, because Ollie was playing it, and he got to the end of Snake Eater and then got a glitch and it actually crashed.
I've not got that far yet.
It actually crashed after the boss fight with Big Boss. So at the end, so he basically had to redo the whole bloody fight and watch the whole cutscene again in order to get the achievement. And I was like, that sucks. Like, but yeah, it's just really annoying that it's like that it has bugs seemingly in a remastered version that weren't in the original.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
Sorry.
Snake.
It's like one of my Japanese animes. Pisses.
It was so bad. Ollie was sending me voice notes of him doing Psychomantis impressions, but just saying terrible stuff. And it's just like, but I was like, you can do a surprisingly good Psychomantis impression.
I can read your mind.
You like Castlevania?
Your memory is completely clean. Yes, because it's solid state. Ha,
you enjoy Japanese hentai.
Solid state.
Wrong memory card.
Yeah, wrong memory. Pull out.
Pull out. I mean the controller. Oh Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's
hello, Chad.
Hello, Chad. How are you doing? Are you enjoying our little sordid tangents? Back on Orion, obviously, they have to sign over the controls of the Cerritos, but just before Freeman does, Tendi goes, hang on, I've got something better than the Cerritos. I have got moi! If you allow us to have this destroyer to save my friend, I will rejoin the Orion fleet. Her sister capitulates to this demand, and gets they get the destroyer, which turns out to be an absolute heap of shite.
Fucking dud.
It is an absolute dud. And what we get is one of my favourite scenes where we get Rutherford and Levick arguing.
So dumb. I cackled at this because I was just like, of all of the joke, like this episode just goes, hey, you know all those running gags we've had throughout the season? Have them all in one episode.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
because the only way that they start arguing on the best way to optimize the systems to get this destroyer running, and Ruthless
Yeah,
is
and
like
then
weapons and
yeah.
propulsion, and that's it. That's all you need.
But then they can't agree on it. But then Talin comes
Of
out
all
basically,
people,
yeah, of all people being like, no, no, I have a way that we can resolve this. And obviously they're just like, oh, is it a mind meld? And they're like, no. And then it cuts to
a twain off. That's what I've called it, a twain off, where
so we see like a steam. What are they called?
it's
Like an ocean liner,
no,
steam?
it's a steamboat, just a
Yeah.
steamboat. It's a paddle boat where they've managed to. I do declare we have achieved an amicable solution, and I love the fact that
Yeah.
Freeman goes, "Why does this work?"
Yeah, no, it's a callback to one of the earlier episodes of the season. I've forgotten which one, but
Yeah,
it's basically where they decide to cosplay as Mark Twain from the TNG episode,
there is
which
going to be
randomly
Mark
has
Twains
the
at the
real
conventions.
writer Mark Twain. Oh, there's gonna be so many Mark Twains at the convention.
It's going to be a twain
Um,
off.
oh my God, oh Twain me off, Daddy. You
I
hear that,
do
Lee? Twain me
declare,
off. But
I'm
I
getting the
do
vapors.
declare.
Oh,
But but yeah, it's the idea of like yeah, and they just find out that somehow it's easier to resolve disputes when you're doing a southern accent dressed as Mark Twain
Tillin
on the holodeck.
Tillin summarizes that it's. I thought you were going to say Mark Cartier, and I was like, shall we just all dress as Mark?
Imagine a Cartier off.
Should,
Cartier off.
do you know what we should do?
Cartier off sounds like a Russian villain.
It sounds like a dodgy watch.
I am Cartier.
Do you know what we should do when we have Mark back? We should all dress as Mark and not tell him. Shh, keep it a secret, guys.
I don't own a baseball cap.
I can get you one. It's fine. We
Okay,
can
so
grow beards, and we can wear the
a
caps,
tribble.
and then just but not mention it. Don't say a word. And when he questions it, we'll go, I don't see it. A
Yeah, no,
full-on
I don't.
Locarno
Yeah,
Tom
that's it.
Paris. I don't know what you mean. Yeah. I'll get a pen on my shirt and everything.
The
So
problem
yeah,
is he's going to watch this and realize our evil plans.
I'm
So
gonna get a test
that's what
going.
we would say.
I'm gonna get a test going, you fuckers. But yeah, I love the fact that Tillin goes, illogical tactics can sometimes lead to logical solutions, and I'm like, you are kind of right. And I love the fact it's a twain off. That's what you need. You know, the solution for the Cerritos is a
I
twain
just
off.
love that in this episode we get twain used as a verb. Like, you know, like where they basically decided that you can resolve things by twaining them. And it's just this new thing that Lower Decks has brought like to the like Star Trek universe. And you're like, we didn't need this, but I'm happy it's there because
Oh
it's
god, I
so
would love
fucking
that.
dumb.
I fucking love it. Next scene, which I have lovingly just called "This is where the Wrath of Khan kicks in." Um, Mariner,
Is that in your
it
notes?
is. It's literally scene 13. This is where the Wrath of Khan kicks in. Mariner has arrived at Detrion 9. It is surrounded by a level 7 ion cloud. She tries to find another way into the planet. She is ambushed by the vertical warbird. And then the rest of Locarno's fleet turns up. Locarno begs her to stand down. Absolutely begs her to stand down. They have this great dialogue in regards to again, and I've got it down here where it's where Locarno refuses to accept responsibility for anything since
Mm.
the Corvold accident, because she basically says, you know, Josh died because of your ego, and it's like, no, that's not the truth. If only the professor would have let us train more. And she's like, no, he died because of your ego. And then
Yeah, it's like the whole thing is like, how else would it have played out? You were doing an illegal maneuver. Like, you know, you can't really argue and be like, if only I was able to murder someone. It's like, you know, if only I was able to do this thing that has been specifically banned because we don't want people doing it.
because
And it's
it's
just this,
dangerous, yeah.
like, all he thought was basically, oh, they'll remember us, they'll remember us, aka me,
Yeah,
forever if we pull this off. And he's just like, and I love the idea that they've, you know, Lower Decks wonderfully has expanded this character that like we were saying earlier with his psychology, is a very dangerous personality to have around people because he just drags people down. And his whole thing is like going, now he's basically going, hey, I haven't learned my lesson at all. So I'm going to drag all of these other people into this big, crazy coalition thing that's only going to get them in trouble in order to feed my ego, in order to actually like give myself a second chance. Fuck knows what they're getting out of it.
But
And
then,
yeah, and basically Mariner points this out to him, and he's just like, no, 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 that's not how it is.
so she decides to take the risk and go into the Iron Storm, and Locarno immediately just gets rid of his "we are all equals" and orders people to go after him. They're like, "Well, no, it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
I thought that we weren't taking orders. I thought we weren't. I thought we were equals." And he's just like, "Oh, screw you! I will go in after her myself." And then we get
And
the
hilariously, spoilers, that's the last thing they ever hear from
yeah,
him.
but then we get, and again we get the music from then on in is top notch because it's Wrath of Khan. We get the Mutara Nebula ripoff, which is the level 7 Iron Storm. It is beautiful. I love this. But we get another audio dialogue between Mariner and Locarno because it's clear that he's got angst against Starfleet because he was found out, he was found guilty. He's got this angst against them. He's got angst against anyone who is above him, who is superior to him, because he's got issues with authority, because he knows better. He's Nick Locarno. I don't have to listen to you. I can do this starburst. I know it killed people and everyone died 100 years ago, but I'm better than them. And in 13 years, he's never learned. He's never developed. He's never matured. He's still that same
Yeah.
Nick Locarno.
And this is the interesting thing. Like, it's the idea of like how you get people who are like this. Like, we very much want to believe that people can change and adapt and they can start off bad and then over time become different. But you do get things where you just go like, oh, wow, you've been in prison for 20 years and you're still a nutter. Like, you're still actually. And
But
it's the idea of like when we meet someone like this in Trek, and it's interesting to like go, hey, here's a not a villain, but here's a previous character who had a fault, and then years later they haven't changed at all. Is actually quite interesting because Trek has like usually does a double bluff. So whenever it brings back a character who had a failing when they were first in, we find out like, oh, actually they've changed their ways or whatever. Like, with like, the second time you see Thomas Riker, he does fuck us over and he's a traitor. Spoilers. But then the third time he's actually genuine, and you're just like going, oh, okay, like people can change, and that's what Trek's all about. And yet this guy, fuck him, he just hasn't.
But to juxtapose Nick Locarno, we actually see development and maturity from Mariner, who
Yeah.
has been in Lower Decks, has been not anti-Starfleet, but is very against the establishment. She is, she is very, I'm in Starfleet, but but then she's defending Starfleet, and she's defending the principles of Starfleet because she's been made to realize by opening up about Ceto from Ma'ar in the last episode that the angst that she had was because of Ceto's death, and that someone ordered her to become this spy, which got her killed. And she's realizing that the principles and values that Starfleet, hold dear, are what she herself holds dear deep down. And she is realizing the price of command and realizing that it's the responsibility for the greater good. It's the needs of the many.
Well, it's the idea of it's not like it's not, the fact is in TNG they very much give her the option of if you don't want to do this, you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, if you do not do this thing that you don't want to do that's really dangerous, we will fire you or we will disgrace you kind of thing. It's the fact of the decision is all hers.
Yes.
She goes, I care about Starfleet. I want to do everything I can and I know the risks and I will do this. And then she suffers, and she suffers because of it, but she's able to actually, we get a good outcome because of what she does.
And
But it's this idea of like, that is responsibility. That is exactly what like being a responsible adult
Yeah.
is making decisions and knowing that you need to roll with the
So
consequences. And this is what Locarno doesn't
yeah,
get.
so we get two juxtaposed positions where we've got someone who in 13 years has not matured and has not learnt and has not developed, and then we see
Or
Mariner
shaved.
or shaved or slept or frosted his tips has not, and then we see Mariner who has moved on, matured, developed, and has become more emotionally assertive, emotionally in touch with why she is like she is, and she is
Mm.
actively making changes to better herself in turn, which in turn helps everyone around her and betters everyone around her. And it's a great
Mm.
message to say, yes, and again, it goes back to the work thing to say, yes, people get promoted and you have to have a crash course in management. You have to learn more responsibility, but it makes you a better person. It teaches you how to manage people, what you need to
Mm.
do. You need to make those difficult decisions because they have to be made. And if you don't do it, someone else will.
We
So,
that's exactly it. And that is what growing up is.
yeah,
Growing up is realizing, oh, you can't control the world in order to protect yourself, but you get better at rolling with the punches, and you need to accept responsibility where you can so that you can get better at it. Like I had it in my life where basically I never, because I'd never really been in a situation when I could really fuck stuff up, like I always had a safety net.
yeah,
It basically meant that I couldn't deal with actual, oh, there is no safety net. Like it didn't prepare you for consequences
yeah.
because you'd never been able to fuck up. You'd never been allowed to fuck up properly before. And it just made it 200% more terrifying. And then, but that's how you learn.
You
You know,
need
it's the
that
same as like
fear.
a bird being dropped from the nest. It's
Yeah,
the idea of that's how you learn to fly. And it's very much that you just go, yeah, you go through a shit situation and you come out going, okay, the world hasn't ended and I can deal with that next time.
you.
And I think it's wonderful that we weren't really expecting this kind of character development from Mariner because it's always been like a joke that she's so incredibly good and that if she was like sort of dedicated, she'd be dangerous. Like if she
Yeah,
was dedicated, she would probably be the best Starfleet officer. So we're kind of getting to see Mariner become possibly an amazing Starfleet officer because they have the skills, they have like the competency, they have like the morality and whatnot to do it. It was just previously they were just like, oh, but I don't want that responsibility. I don't want to be
no,
doing that. I don't want that risk because I could get people killed. I could get myself killed. I don't want that. And now that she's realizing, oh wow, like I can do this, and I understand what Sito uh, did for Starfleet. Yeah, I just think it's very unexpected for Lower Decks to have such deep characters when it's a
it's
fucking cartoon. it's a
it's a
it's a
growing
comedy
pains.
cartoon, you
Yeah,
know?
it's a growing pains season, and Gizmodo summed up in their review of this episode in season four.
Mm.
Lower Decks is saying goodbye to its current self. It's
Yeah.
maturing into the next phase. But again, that's the
I,
whole
I
point
wa-
of
I was
Lower
literally
Decks.
fully expecting this episode to end with Mariner getting a promotion. And it to be like, hey, they had a season as like lieutenant junior grade, and then now they're actually full lieutenants because you just
Yeah.
like Boimler's demonstrated. Well, we haven't really had it yet, but Boimler demonstrates that he'd be good captain material,
Well,
and that Mariner demonstrates that she is competent in everything.
that's a good
But yeah,
segue because as this is going on, as Lacano is hunting Mariner in the Iron Storm, we see the Cerritos heading towards the Trinar shield. With acting Captain Boimler at the con, we have got the Cerritos towing
now
us
how does this happen? This is just fantasy, isn't it? Because
because
literally, Ransom is there. Ransom is literally there. Why is Boimler in charge? Except for plot device.
plot device. But he's
Yeah.
acting captain. We believe that Freeman and the senior staff are on the Orion destroyer. These ships are careering towards this shield. At the last minute, Boimler orders the tractor beam to be disabled. They fly away, and like most new Star Trek, we ended up solving a situation by yeeting a big ass ship at something to destroy it and take it down. Thank
I
you.
think it's so hilarious that literally two engineers sat down, came up with their own ideas, then had
A twain
a
off.
twain off
A twain
or
off.
a twaining. Like the twaining sounds like a film from the Conjuring
They
series, if
did a
I'm honest.
Shania
But
Twain.
yeah, they Schneider that don't impress me much. I fucking love. I saw a drag routine. Sorry, total distraction. Um, I saw a drag routine where they were dressed as Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village.
Oh, mama.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
big milky mama milkers. Um, Dressed as them, doing Shania Twain. That don't impress me much.
Mm.
But they replaced all of the names of things with Ethan Winters. So it's just like, so you're Ethan Winters. That don't impress me. And it just
Wow.
was so stupid. And like the idea, because that's the wonderful thing about drag performance, where you just go, I have these two ideas, and that is it. And we will make a 6-minute number out of this, and you will enjoy it. It was just,
Peaches just said,
yeah,
"What would this be without distractions and tangents?"
I know. Sorry for
Very,
the tangent.
very, very well put, but we love it anyway. So yes, they just full on yeet the ship again.
Yeah.
We have just seen this now in Strange New Worlds. We have seen it since Nemesis. It's the Picard maneuver. If you can't beat it, ram it. Which is
Wait,
a
oh,
great.
no, that's the Riker maneuver.
No, that's get your leg over. So,
Oh, but I love the idea though that it's like this is very much like user testing scenarios where they're basically where the rest of the fleet are basically of the traitor fleet are basically like going, you told us that shield was impenetrable, and he's like, I wasn't expecting anyone to throw a battleship at it.
yeah, well they
But yeah,
punch
it's
they
the
punch
idea
a
of,
hole.
yeah, they hit it, they literally ram it with the battleship, and it freaks out the system so much that it causes a massive hole in the temporary massive hole in the shield
But then
that they
we
can get through.
But then we think, well, hang on, isn't the senior staff on that? No, they are on the captain's yacht. They are on
Hey,
the captain's yacht. And that's the great plot twist. They are on the captain's yacht. And Boimler just goes, oh, I've never known anyone to use a captain's yacht. And both of us is like, I know, right? And he's just like,
I do love the idea though that Dearica would like thought that she was like pulling the wool over their eyes by being like, haha, I promised you a battleship and I gave you one, but all of its systems are rubbish and it's useless, so I tricked you. And then Freeman's just like, I blew it up, fuck you.
yeah, we
Like,
scrapped
and
it.
it's very much like you're not getting it back.
We
Whereas if you'd given us a fully functional one, we would have been able to do something with that. But
I love the fact, yeah. So Boimler goes, I've never seen anyone use a captain's yacht before. And we just get with them going, I do declare.
we need to have a Twain off. We need to have an episode where it's just me and you dressed as Twain.
Shall I get a grey
If
wig and a
we
grey
if we
moustache?
ever roll that episode on
Oh
well,
yeah.
if we ever roll that two-parter, we need to be as Mark Twain in
Where
it.
would I find a white suit and a bolo tie? I don't know. I'm gonna have to source this. If I could find
I
a
haven't
goth
had a
wig,
white suit since Berlin in the late 90s.
if I could find a
Mm.
goth wig within 12 hours, I can find a white suit. So yeah, the so Locarno is still on the hunt for Mariner. He finds out that the shield has been disabled. And like you said, I didn't know they were going to throw a battleship at it. And the loyalty of these lower deckers just turn on the dime because they're just like bye, and they just all leave. They just
Yeah,
all
they're
fuck
just
off.
like, no. Well,
Yep.
they don't leave necessarily. Basically, Mariner decides to go into the ion storm to get away from them, and then uh, yeah, and then all of them are just like, no, we're not doing that. Like, fuck you, you
Yeah.
know.
But now that Starfleet's on the way, they're like, nope, we don't want any part of
Yeah.
this. See you later. Bye. In the Ion Storm, Locarno finds Mariner, disables the ship, and Mariner just does Khan. She's going, yep, time to detonate this Ferengi Genesis device, which has got a lovely little Ferengi animated face too. And the
I love
device,
it.
press this. He beams aboard the ship, and again, this is a testament to his
Sociopathy.
that's
I'm not
the word.
even. I'm the drunk one, and I can pronounce sociopathy.
But it's a testament because he is convinced that he has graduated top of his class. And Mariner goes, "You didn't fucking graduate. You were arrested."
But this is why I was suggesting that he was a narcissist, because the big trait of narcissists is that they think they're amazing with people, but then they're just not. And this is the whole thing with him. He thinks he's this amazing negotiator, and then throughout the whole episode, Mariner's just like, hang up, turn you off, or like everyone's just like, shut up, And it's this idea that he's like, no, 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 I'm such a great negotiator that I can just teleport onto this ship and then basically resolve the situation with words. And you're like, but you are shit with words.
And
so
still
why would you do that?
And still convinced that he's never done wrong. Everyone has wronged him, and the galaxy owes him.
Yeah, this is a character that we've only had for this one episode, and look how deep we're getting. Well, with 2 episodes technically, but but how fascinating is it that he's so well written that we're able to have this discussion about his, like psychology and his motives, because he's a fascinating character. Like, the idea that he's just, because we all kind of know people like this, where you're just going like, fucking hell, I have a guy who's trying to chat me up at the minute, okay, who like thankfully doesn't watch any of my stuff, and he is convinced that he is God's fucking gift, and I'm just like, I have not reciprocated anything with you, and he's just genuinely thinks he's like absolutely beautiful in God's gift, and I'm just like, I'm just going to stay here to watch this play out because this is a fucking car crash, which is horrible of me, but at the same time it's fascinating just being like, why? And you realize it's overcompensation. It's the idea of what Locarno's doing here is very much, he's that overconfidence and that sort of determination that he's going to do this and that he's amazing and stuff is because he knows he's not, because he knows he has failed and he has not succeeded at what he wants to succeed in, and therefore he's kind of tricking himself to believe that, and trying to get other people to believe it as well by being like, hey, I'm amazing at talking to people, so maybe I can believe that I'm amazing at talking to people.
I'm just texting Paul to get him to stop chatting you up, because obviously he never watches this. So,
no, he's not going to chat me up. I'm not a goth girl.
No. But we've got Lee, so it's fine. Hello, Daddy.
I'm not paying attention to Lee at the chat because, stop it. I can only get so hard.
Oh, Krieger. So,
yeah, you got the reference.
Of course I did.
Stop it. My penis can only get so erect.
Jazz hands.
Which, oddly, Facebook won't let me save as like a sort of instant GIF on Facebook.
I wonder why.
That is my response to everything. That and the why not both?
So, yeah, Mariner beams out just in time. She's rescued by the captain's yacht, and the best last words of any villain is uttered in this scene where Locarno decides he's trying to disarm this Ferengi Genesis device.
I love it.
Genesis device.
This is my favorite bit of the whole episode.
The Genesis device goes to disarm. Install.
No. He puts the correct code in. He has the code. He puts the correct code in, and then it goes, code accepted.
Install.
Also, to disarm, please insert 2 bars of gold pressed platinum.
And he goes,
Yeah,
they put a paywall on a bomb? Boom!
And I just love that this is the most Ferengi thing in the entire world. Like, making it canon that the Ferengi, what's it called? What's the Ferengi Alliance called?
The Ferengi Alliance.
The Ferengi Alliance, yeah. The Ferengi Alliance is EA.
I was just about to say that. I was literally just about to say that. I was going to say, if EA made bombs, this would be it.
Yeah, I just love it. Like a self-destruct sequence where you have to have the code, but also pay money to disarm it. It's just amazing. It made me laugh.
Genesis device would make you pay $7.99 for a texture pack. That's what they would do.
If they did guns, it would be you'd have a coin slot on the trigger.
and it will be rendered in Frostbite because everything's Frostbite. Oh no, sorry, Unreal 5. So, well,
Okay,
they realised after
I love that.
trying that Frostbite was crap. So yeah,
So the
Locarno.
Genesis device goes off. Obviously, his last words are, "You put a paywall on a bomb," and then the ship explodes. And then we basically get the birth of a new
We
nebula, which
get
is amazing. A new
scene.
planet, a new nebula.
We get scene for scene a beautiful, loving recreation of the Enterprise escaping the Genesis device from the Wrath of Khan. A tear was drawn from my eye. The Blu-ray was pulled from the
they
shelf.
they love Wrath of Khan and Lower
Who
Decks.
doesn't love
Same
Wrath of
same as like
Khan?
Picard, same as Strange New Worlds. Like just wow. Like Picard
Who
season 3 drawing on Wrath of Khan and Lower Decks drawing on it.
Everyone can reproduce it, no one can master it because Wrath of Khan is the Nick Meyer chef's kiss of Star Trek. When a Star Trek, I mean this is how big this was, guys. A Star Trek property got recognised and awarded at the Cannes Film Festival.
Mm.
When a Star Trek film gets recognised by Cannes and they go, it's actually quite good, you know you're onto something. And then we got Search for Spock. But nevertheless, we got
Wales.
we got that Star Trek 4, the one with the wheels. Oh yeah, I mentioned to Kelly Harper, who is a friend of the show, who I got a T-shirt for today, and it was a friend of the Shuttlepod show.
Hi, Kelly.
I was gonna do a Star Trek Brummy accent. I was gonna go Star Trek 4, the one with the wiles. So yeah,
Star Trek 4.
I'm on the U.S.S. Defiant.
I
Oh
actually,
no, it's
actually,
Captain Cisco. Sorry.
It's Captain
Hang on.
Scott.
Oh no.
It was brilliant. Like I was literally on no, it was on Monday before Halloween. Me and my best mate Ian, we were watching. Oh God, we watched. It was actually quite funny because basically we were watching the two worst Hellraiser films. Okay, we watched Hellraiser 3 and 4, which are fucking garbage, and you can fight me on this. And it was brilliant because basically General Kirky, who we've had on here, absolutely loves like Hellraiser 4 Bloodlines, and it is utter garbage. And we were literally just messaging her throughout the episode, throughout watching the show, basically being like, "This is shit." We had to pause it halfway through to go and buy alcohol because we didn't think we could make it through the rest of the film, and it was just like it was absolutely awful. But then we realized how funny the Hellraiser films would be if you just redubbed Pinhead to have a Geordie accent. Like, keep the entire film exactly the same, but he just comes out and he's just like, he's just, "No tears, please." It's a waste of good suffering.
I did this with Arnold Schwarzenegger films and a Birmingham accent. He was like, "Oh, get to the chopper.
Yeah. You know when I said I'd kill you last? I lied.
You're right.
You're right.
I need your boots, your clothes, and your motorcycle."
I think we should do this. Like, like
This is
obviously,
why this is why I can't
honestly.
watch Doctor Who because I briefly, and I mean 6 episodes, got into Tenant Doctor Who, and there was one Brummy in it, and I'm like, nope. No Birmingham person should be in any sci-fi because it takes me out of it. It is like, oh look, it's the Doctor doing his TARDIS, and I was just like, oh,
I, for our American watchers or listeners who don't know what the Birmingham accent is, it is basically vocal poison, I'd say. It's just like it's actually quite good because my dear friend Beth, who we lost earlier in the year, was from Birmingham, and it was hilarious because basically she just totally gave up the accent when she moved up north, and then every time she'd go and visit her family in Birmingham and then come back for the first couple of days, she had the accent back, and we were like, "Oh, Birmingham," And it's that thing of just being like, oh God, it's such a distinct accent, I think.
it is, and it does, and it's not a slight on any Burmese. We are not slighting on people from Birmingham. It's just I cannot take that accent seriously in a serious science fiction show.
Yeah.
If you get like, you're right, I'm the chief engineer of the Starship Enterprise, and I'm just like, I
How
can't,
good would it be though?
I
How
can't.
good?
If
Like,
Scotty was a Brummie, come on.
but no, but like when we have actual American TV shows where they have to subtitle a Geordie in it because they just go, Americans will not understand. Like the amount of times that on the Girl podcast where we've like spoken to like Canadian or sort of American like sort of drag artists or like celebrities or whatever, and they can understand me fine because it's closer to received pronunciation. But like when Stu and Glenn speak, they're just like going, what was that? And obviously we have to edit it all out, but there are scenes of just being like, I have no idea what you just said. And it's just a Northeast accent. It's just a Sunderland accent or just a South Shields accent. And yet, like, people from other countries just can't grasp it.
Uh,
And I kind of love I love the Birmingham accent. Like, I don't think it's a nice accent to hear, but I find it very endearing because of how notorious it is. Because we're just like, isn't it wonderful to have this thing that's so sort of Marmite?
Apparently, though, our accents in the Northeast are sexy to the Americans.
Really?
I was told, this was when I was on Captain's Quadrant, formerly Spectrum Sanctorum. I was told in their chat, they were like, this gentleman's accent is rather handsome. And I'm like, you are.
Oh my God, when we go to Vegas, I'm going to get spread like I can't believe it's not
Yeah,
busted.
you are going to get lurpacked. That's what you are going to get
Oh,
done. Yes.
lurpak me, daddy. So maybe I should get a king then.
So the bomb goes off.
Okay.
We see this new planet formed. We then get the debrief where the admirals are absolutely fuming about what happened. But the plus side of it is that it opened diplomatic relations with the Orions for the first time ever. So every cloud, silver linings.
Do the Orions ever join like the
No,
Federation?
not
Yeah.
no. I don't believe they have. Not even in.
Do we even get an accord though? You know how like we had the Kittimer Accords with the
I don't
Klingons, where
know.
it's like, hey, that'd be amazing if the like because that's the thing. We're literally lower decks is progressing the law in the way that we want, rather than just ignoring it.
It's fleshing out these core
Yeah.
systems.
Because in this fucking series, we get the potential for an alliance between the Federation and the like Ferengi
Yeah.
alliance, and you're just like, that is a big deal law-wise. And then the idea that there could actually be an alliance with the Orions is who are effectively pirates is amazing.
We do get the name of the Genesis planet, which is being called Locarno because his DNA has been transmogrified into the planet's makeup. That's not going to bite you in the arse later on. But there is one last bit of business to attend to, and it's Freeman's little Lieutenant JG. And we find out when they are celebrating in the tenfold, the Cerritos bar, the Orion ship warps in. Tendi has to honour her agreement. She is an Orion. She has to honour the agreement. She failed barter by combat. She leaves the lower deck crew
Fuck you, Miglimo.
to rejoin the Orion fleet. And that's how it ends. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger. It doesn't end on a high. It's just, yep, this is how it ends. Awesome end credit music, by the way. I
Wait,
thought
it
that was
also
brilliant.
holds also to skip back a bit in the bar scene. We basically get it where the whole usual team, the main characters, Rutherford, Boimler, Mariner, Tendi, and Tallinn, sitting down at a table, being like, "Hey, look, we totally survived the series, and it's all wonderful and stuff." And we even get Tallinn getting a phone call on her pad from, Captain Sokol, who was the her previous captain that we saw in a previous episode of the series basically kicked her out of the Vulcan military and then transferred her to Starfleet to be on this ship. Yeah.
Ship.
uh that's really difficult to pronounce. and basically did all of that, and then basically Tallin's just like, no, I'm gonna come clean. I don't want to go back to that ship anymore. I want to stay here. I enjoy it here, which is a wonderful little closing off of that plot line that we got, and a
I like
nice
that.
little bit of development for Tallinn. Because obviously with Tendi leaving, it kind of just goes, whoa, is Tallinn going to step up and be like one of the main four now? Like, how are we going to do? Because we did have was it season two where Mariner starts off
Season
not
3.
part of Lower Decks? Is season three? Yeah, where basically the first couple of episodes, the first two episodes, Mariner isn't actually with the other characters and they've got separate plot lines,
She's basically living her best life as a Xeno historian, being a
which he
Tomb
does
Raider, a
a
Xeno
terrible
tomb,
job of.
yeah, a
I
Xeno
also
Tomb
love
Raider.
I love that we basically got that character appearing again in this episode, just in a random little
Yeah,
scene
I
where
love that.
basically when he was addressing the whole Alpha Quadrant, because that is a great character. And I
Mm.
think that's what Lower Decks has done best. It's added so much stuff to the Star Trek universe that other shows can just go, we're going to put Moopsie in. Moopsie's a thing now. Oh, we're going to get this character and put them in this. Oh, we're going to put fucking Miggly Mo in fucking Picard season 4 or something nuts. Like,
Yeah.
imagine how crazy that would be if they literally just went, oh, Strange New Worlds, in the next crossover, they get fucking Miglimo or something.
So overall, how would you rate season 4?
Fantastic. I would give season 4 an 8 out of 10. And that
Ooh,
sounds low, but I'm really conservative with my ratings for things, just not with my voting habits because I'm not a cunt.
I'm
Um, but it's yeah, fuck the Tories. Yay! I
yeah.
think
Fuck the
one
Tory.
101 minutes before we got that in. But no, it's this idea of I'm very much kind of like going, look, when I give something a 10 out of 10, that means it's perfect. That is very fucking rare. A 9 out of 10, obviously we did, it's not going to get a 9 out of 10 because we did have a few badges more, which was basically a filler episode and I felt was very disappointing and did the crime, like I said during the review of that, the crime of for a few badges more was that it killed off really good potential plot lines.
I
Not very well, but the fact is, 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. I've really enjoyed this series. It's brought so much to the Trek universe. It's been so incredibly enjoyable, and it's just been a joy to review every episode.
contr
And yeah.
controversial opinion though. I agree with
Hmm.
you. I'm got
What?
two. I
Fuck you.
I
Fuck
too.
you, Goodwill.
I
Don't
too.
agree with me.
I'm going to
Don't
say
validate my nonsense.
I'm going to say 8 out of 10 because of two issues: empathological fallacies, which was the Beta Z episode. The only redeeming feature of that was it's Romulan 8 o'clock somewhere. Paramount,
Yeah.
get your finger out your ass and make that cut. And a few badges more, because a few badges more should have focused on Badgie. It should have been Badgie centric, and we should have had
Yeah.
Agabus in a second B plot in another
Whole
episode.
should have been it should have been a whole fucking episode. Like
Yeah,
wasting Peanut Hamper and
she needs
what's
to
his
be
name?
wasted.
Ag Agamus.
Agamus.
Wasting Peanut Hamper and Agamus as a B plot, I felt was a disservice, if I'm
I
perfectly honest.
just as a quick side before, because I've got an incoming transmission coming through, but just as a quick side, I've nicknamed Agamus the MSI desktop of Star Trek because he's excellent at emitting red light, but when it comes to blue, they do struggle. So it is an MSI desktop. But yes, I agree with you. It is an 8 out of 10. But like I said, I do have an incoming transmission.
Incoming
It's
transmission.
almost like everyone in the chat. Yes, you know what this is. Let's see what
Oh
happens next
my
week.
god, it's a
Oh my god.
revamped double wheel. I did not totally polish this up last minute an hour ago, but
Subrasa.
it is back, ladies and gentlemen, Treks and Trekkers, genders of all races. The double wheel of episodes has returned. I made sure to test it earlier on to make sure it works, and it totally did not land on Sub Rosa.
It
So
did, it turned up on
I
her.
did not scream in agony. But yes, for
Are we
those
already in the chat to yell Dabo?
for
We
those
better be.
who are new to Trekking Up North, the Double Wheel has every Star Trek episode, bar Discovery, in the wheel. We click the double wheel, we spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, we will review it next
Code of
week.
honor, Christopher. Code of honor.
Is
Come on,
everybody
Christopher.
ready in the chat? And it's wonderful as well because with the little revamp that I've done, I have been able to let
I can see it now.
Synoiz see the double wheel so he can cry or shout in joy with the rest of us. So are we
Shout
ready?
in joy.
Shout in
That's a
joy.
weird
We're
emoji.
going to shout Dabo. So
Okay.
are
Yeah.
we ready, everybody? I am going to spin the wheel now.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh no. Oh no.
Come on.
Oh, no.
Code of honor. Code of honor.
Double! It is!
No!
Oh, yes! It is the original series Star Trek episode Operation Annihilate!
Annihilate.
Oh,
Is this our first original series
it
episode?
is. It is our
Yeah.
first original
How crazy!
series.
How many? The Dabble Wheel is mainly focused on Voyager and TNG, bizarrely.
Season 1, episode 29 of the original series Operation Annihilate. The synopsis is: the crew of the Enterprise must find a way to exterminate behavior-altering parasites that have taken over the bodies of residents on a Federation colony, including Captain Kirk's brother, Sam.
That's basically like not buying the sun, isn't it?
Sam Kirk. And
Oh.
family. The episode is popular for revealing new facts about Vulcan physiology. This is a Sam Kirk guest episode. This is where Sam Kirk originated from. This is why we've got Mustache Daddy that Synoiz loves in Strange New Worlds.
He is so hot. He is genuinely so hot that like the only thing stopping me climbing him like a ladder is that mustache. It's almost like a sort of, where you put like where you just make something slightly ugly to stop it.
So next week, everybody, we will be reviewing, and this is refreshing because this will be for Synoiz to go through the original series.
Yeah.
If you guys want to,
It's like I tried because, as I said last week, I haven't fully watched the original series because I find it a bit of a struggle, if I'm perfectly honest. And also Discovery. I find Discovery a big struggle. But obviously, like we're saying, we're going to be doing 2 episodes about Discovery in the new year after we've had the new series. So I'm watching through that at the minute, and then it's a thing that exists. But the original series, I think this is going to be really enjoyable, and it's going to be really fun. Like one thing I did love in Discovery is when it had like background episodes about Pike. It actually had flashbacks that were cutscenes from the original series,
Cage.
and I loved that. Like they didn't reshoot it, they didn't do
Previously
that.
on
They just
Star
went,
Trek. Yeah.
yeah, they just went, this is what the episode looks like. And you're like, yes, embrace that technology. Embrace that that's what the actual episode looked like.
So, guys, this is an extra bonus for you who watch it and who listen it. You can watch Star Trek the original series, the remastered version, on Netflix if you're in the UK, Paramount Plus if you're in the United States. Watch it. Watch it with us. And then come to the discussion next week and we will all talk about Operation Annihilate together. So this will
do that for us, okay? Everyone in the chat, everyone listening to this episode on Spotify, everyone watching on YouTube, go on Netflix or whatever streaming service, or if there's any way that you can do it, and watch this episode of the original series, because I think it's more fun. Because obviously we've been talking about Lower Decks. It's an amazing series. You should totally watch it. But yes, it is locked behind Paramount Plus at the minute, and if you're not signed on to that, you can't really watch it. Whereas the original series is available in a lot of places, and we'd be really interested to have you in the chat next Friday telling us what you thought of this episode and giving your interpretations of various scenes as we're talking about it. So feel free to tell us that we're wrong and you loved bits that we hated, or that you got a totally different meaning out of scenes that we got. Because I think that's what's really fun, because I love engaging with the chat, and I think it's great that we have so many cool watchers
And it's great
or
for
listeners.
me because I can pull out my original series uniform. So that is for
I
next.
will be wearing this again, oddly enough.
That is for next week, everybody. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined along our review of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4. We genuinely do love this. You will see, going forward into next year, you will see a change to Trekking Up North where we do use the dabble wheel a lot more. We will review movies from Star Trek and maybe branch into other sci-fi things that are related to Star Trek. Keep tuned into Nerdy Up North. If you are new to Nerdy Up North, please give us a subscribe, like this video, tickle that bell. If you find us funny for some strange reason, Nerdy Up North is on.
Weirdos.
Nerdy Up North is everywhere. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on TikTok, we are on Twitch. We've got a lovely dedicated Twitch team. We've got Daddy Lee, we've got the Messiah himself, Jake, the son of God, who is on there. I occasionally get drunk and game in a wig. So, but you can find everything for Nerdy Up North in our social, in our description below. All of our friends who we love dearly and who support us and we support them, all the links to theirs below, such as Clone Star Podcast, the Shuttlepod Show, Captain's Quadrant. Please look at their videos, give them a subscribe as well, give them a like, throw them a bone as you throw us a bone. We all want to grow, we all want to work together to spread the love of Star Trek.
We have such a great community.
We really
like
do.
we were saying earlier on WhatsApp, the idea of the Trek community is fascinating, because all these other communities and all these other like fan bases are poisonous as fuck. And then in Trek, everyone's just like, oh my god, I love that too. And it's this weird thing where you can just meet people and just kind of have a ball with it. And it's so, I know, it's so lovely sort of getting to meet all these people. And then, it's like going to a party,
Yeah.
not knowing who anyone is, but knowing that you have a shared subject that you can kind of rely upon and be like, oh, but what about this? And then, get conversations started. And that's the wonderful thing about Trek. And that's the wonderful thing about nerdism. Like the idea of having these shared points of reference, I think,
Are you
that you can
twitching
have with
tonight?
strangers. Pardon?
Are you twitching tonight?
Wait, I haven't had that much wine, but oh no, oh, the streaming service. Oh yeah. No, I will be twitching in about 10 minutes, I think. We're going to be playing more Ad Infinitum, which I'm very surprised is a very scary game. Like, I am very embarrassed that, like, when I'm streaming it, and like, you were there, when I was streaming last Friday, I find myself actually covering my eyes and doing what I do at the cinema when it's a scary movie. And I'm just like going,
Terrifying.
oh, what a scary movie. Oh, I'm really enjoying this. And then realizing everyone can see me on the webcam being an absolute wuss. So
Absolutely terrifying. But guys, Synoiz's Twitch is in the description below. Come and join us over there. It's officially the after show for Trekking Up North now. It's basically it's Trekking Up North after dark, where we get out of our military uniforms and get into civvies and
civvies.
and get scared.
I've gotten into a couple of civvies, but they haven't complained.
Okay, so that has been this week's episode of Trekking Up North. We will see you all next week. Until then, stay safe, everybody. Take care of each other. Live long and prosper.
Slapper the face. Insert the goose. Slapper the face. Insert the goose.